Don't miss our new film Sooryavanshi in cinemas on March 24th. Keep it locked with youpodcasting.com.
Hi everybody, you're listening to the Khandaan podcast by the You Podcast team, a bi-weekly podcast revisiting the movies of Aamir Khan, Salman Khan and Shah Rukh Khan.
Every show we pick a random year from 3 decades of collectively 300 films the Khans have done and let our listeners vote which movie we should talk about. So it's entirely up to you.
Pick a team, make a vote, take us down nostalgia lane, punish us, or make us reassess a movie we dismissed.
We love the Khans, most of us, sometimes. And we would love for you all to be part of our Khandaan, because when it comes to the Khans in Bollywood, nothing else really matters.
Hello and welcome to the Khandaan podcast.
I like you taking over the intro, man. I think this is a good thing. Somebody else should MC this nonsense sometimes. Like it's all on my shoulder. I like this. Sujoy, you're gonna do the intros from now on.
Oh, jeez. Like Amrita is the maestro of ASMR, so why not her?
No. I don't need any of this. Thank you.
Yeah, so Amrita, you can be ASMR, but the R stands for Rani.
Well done, Asim.
Bringing it back. What are we doing this episode, guys? Yeah, we've got quite a few things, right? Okay, we need to explain why we're doing Dil first, right? Because, okay, so first of all, I have to add this note. I have posted, by the time this is posted, I have also posted last week's episode, but I don't know why. There were a lot of audio issues and I could not solve them. I was not going to post it at all, but Amrita said, post it anyway. It's free. People can switch it off and listen to this one. So we'll just explain again. I lost the Filmfare Prediction Awards, right? And you guys won the Filmfare Prediction Award. The winner was going to choose the movie, but we hadn't thought it through that also then the winner has to watch the movie. So, Amrita, you went first. And you picked the movie Dil.
Yes. I wanted something older and I wanted something like less good, but also something that I wouldn't want to kill myself after watching. And I haven't seen Dil in about 25 years or so. And I mean, we'll talk about it very soon. But yeah, I thought that might be something that we could all have opinions about.
Yeah, it was a good thought process. But while I was watching the movie and taking notes, the note that appears the most is why, Amrita, why? Why did you do this to us? So we're going to talk about a few trailers. We're going to we watched quite a few movies this time. Also, like a very nice short movie. So we're going to be doing Baaghi 3 because me and Sujoy watched it, or as Tiger Shroff calls it, Baaghi 3. क्योंकि मैं बागी हूँ, तुम बागी हो, हम सब बाग में हैं, अपनी फिल्म का नाम pronounce नहीं कर पाते लोग, that kind of thing.
Somebody on Twitter was like giving Tiger grief for saying that thing that he did about how he thinks women are just padding in his movies, and I didn't say anything, but like in my head I was just thinking like, of course, he thinks that way because he's never made a movie. He's only ever made like an extended show reel for his action stunts. So no wonder he thinks women are just padding. He has to first make an actual movie first.
Well, we will talk about how much of a role Shraddha plays in this movie.
Yeah.
Because
I've already watched KRK's review, so I'm looking forward to what you guys have to say.
What's happening, Amrita? You've been watching Faridun and KRK on a Sunday morning.
This is where 2020 has left me.
This is what life is now. We've just accepted it, and like that. This is the content we will be consuming. And yeah, Thappad we also saw. I'm actually kind of feeling good that I'm the one able to pronounce it correctly and the actors are not able to pronounce the name of their own movies. So I'm happy with that for once. And then quite a few trailers. So what shall we get started with? Shall we start with the trailers?
ANGREZI medium. Yeah.
Yeah. So the first trailer for Angrezi Medium got released, and I'm not up to date exactly with Irrfan Khan's health issues, but it seems that he's not able to, he's better now, but he's not able to promote his movies. Is that correct? Is that how I understand it? Amrita, do you know anything about that?
I don't. I have no idea what's up with him.
Yeah, so he has an illness, but I thought he got better and he then finished this movie. Sujoy, you had actually never seen this trailer until we saw it yesterday before Baaghi.
Yeah, and you ruined it for me with giving away the punchline.
I'm so sorry. I did not know.
Asim just like was so excited by Deepak Dobriyal's one-liners. It was less. What's the line that kills you?
मैं ख्वाजा की दीवानी हूँ. That kills me every time. That line, the delivery he does, because it seems to be that Kareena Kapoor is playing some sort of Muslim character, and it makes Irrfan and Deepak Dobriyal nervous. So they're just like spouting any random Muslim phrase they have, and the last one is मैं तो सिर्फ ख्वाजा की दीवानी हूँ, and that just kills me. So funny. I'm still laughing.
I also really enjoy like Kareena's whole vibe in this movie, where she's just like completely pissed off.
Yeah.
And, like efficient. I really like grown up Bebo.
Yeah, I really like her too. I feel this is gonna be her Kill Bill. Sorry, this is a reference to the Anupam Chopra interview she did, which was also amazing, where she basically said she didn't care at all, and she was like not focused on Jab We Met because Tashan was gonna be her Kill Bill. And how things have changed, and she just basically freestyled through all of Jab We Met, and it became her biggest and most important role, which is very Bebo-like when you think about it, right?
Yeah. Oh, while we're talking about Bebo on Anupama Chopra, let's also give a shout out to Karishma, who was on Rajiv Masan, who barely let her speak, but it was still a joy to like have Karishma on and like listen to her talk about her career and say it with like, you know, like so much humor and like fondness and nostalgia. It was really nice. Like if Rajiv is like really annoying, and I'm glad Bhushan Kumar, like our friend Bogi on Twitter, like called him out, and Rajiv actually like responded and was like, yeah, that's fair. Like I should have shut up more, I guess. Which was nice of Rajiv, but like I'd really want to see him like shut up a little bit more when he's doing his interviews. But
I think even Rajiv got excited. I think that's what happened more than anything. Like I've been in that situation where I'm interviewing somebody, and after in the edit I'm like, why am I talking so much? Why everyone, you know? But you just get so excited, and I think charisma just does that. You know, you're like it has such fond memories. They had met each other or seen each other before when she was working, it seems. And yeah, I think there was a lot of covered, but I agree with you that it was quite graceful of Rajiv to like take that note on board, because I don't think Bhushan, the way he formulated that tweet, he had any idea that Rajiv was going to catch that tweet. So it was quite like, okay, awkward.
But good on Bhushan for like, you know, just sort of rolling with it and being like, hey, good on you, man. Like,
what else do you do? That's what we all do. It's like, oh, sorry, big fan, sir.
सर पॉडकास्ट कर रहे हैं, एक एपिसोड में आएंगे सर.
Sorry.
But yeah, going back to Angrezi Medium, like I want to talk about the songs, the 2 songs that they've released so far. And the first one they released was the one with Radhika Madan, where she was like, she's just dancing, and she's so hilarious, man. Like I couldn't stop laughing the entire time. Like it's been a while and a half since I saw somebody with like that kind of expression.
Yeah. It's like super like Lolo Govinda Besharam kind of dancing form. Like she's totally embraced the masala, like filmy nature in that song. It's just amazing. She even does that Shah Rukh arms wide open pose.
Yeah.
Yeah, Sara TikTok ek taraf and like Radhika Madan ek taraf. She's so much better than all SRK impressions that there are out there. It's so well done, you know, and it clearly comes from a point of having loved these movies so much. I mean, for me, she stood out in Mard Ka Dar Nahi Hota. Even when I was reviewing that, I thought she was the best part of it. I didn't watch the Vishal Bhardwaj movie, but it's on my watch list. But the watch list is getting so huge. I don't know if I'll ever get to it. But yeah, she's great. And even in interviews, she's very like aware. And I hope she can, you know, get a lot of projects. And I really like her vibe. I really like her energy. And she's very like bindas, you know. So I kind of like that with her. So the first song is good, and it's what is it called? They're both like Punjabi kind of Bhangra-ish songs, no? If I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, the first one is called Nachna Ondani, which is a remix of a very old Punjabi song. Like not very old, but it's been like at least 10-15 years since it came out.
Somebody on YouTube was like, whether the film is Hindi medium or ANGREZI medium, the songs are always Punjabi medium.
That's so true.
Yeah.
I was just going to say Nachan Nu Ji Karda, that's the first one, and the second one is Kudi Nu Nachne De. So it's a lot of nachna going on, but anyway, yeah. So that's the second one that you were talking about, right, Amrita?
Yeah, and that's the one with, okay, how many people? It's Katrina, Anushka, Alia, Kiara, Janvi. Who else? There's somebody else.
Nana Panda is
Radhika.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, she's
Oh.
in there. Nana Panda is in there too.
So my big point about that song is that you can basically see who has star quality and who doesn't. Like, it's immediately obvious when you watch this song, because they're like some people that you just can't take your eyes off them, right? Like Katrina's just luminescent.
Anushka.
Alia's like super fun. Anushka's like, Anushka, get a job. Like, what are you doing, girl? But
We miss you. Basically, we miss you on screen. Really, really bad, Anushka. Come back.
I don't know who came up with this concept or why they all decided that, yeah, sure, they'll do it. I've heard like a few people say online that they did it for Irrfan, but like Irrfan hasn't worked with like most of these people, if not all of these people. So I don't know why they would do it for Irrfan. Like, I don't get it, but it's a fun song, and I don't think we've seen anything like this before, or we haven't seen anything. Yeah, just for women. I don't think we've seen that before for like, right?
It seems very fresh to me. I'd not like, and also I've never seen these actresses be so free. And I think it is like our friend Bollywood pointed out that he'd never seen Katrina this way. But I think we were having a discussion about Katrina not too long ago, that she has kind of rediscovered herself and is much more free. And we seem to all love this new Katrina, and this song seems to be kind of like the the height of it, and it just works so well. Just, she's dancing like a dork, and she does kind of that in Jagga Jasoos too, and it's really like, it's really cool, and almost it feels very intimate also, like the way the song is shot, right?
Yeah, it really looks like they're like hanging out on the roof of their homes and like just with just like their iPhone or whatever and just shooting video. It really looks like fun.
And it kind of reminded me of like the Justin Timberlake song "Can't Stop This Feeling," where just random people are dancing in the supermarket aisle and people are dancing in front of a car wash. It's kind of like that. It's very candid.
Yeah. And also, if you like Katrina in this song, then you should check out her Instagram, because that's basically the vibe that you get on her Instagram. She's like super fun and easy on her Insta.
Yeah. So there's one shot that did though make me a little bit sad. It's just like something that pinched me, is like, with my daughter, we've been watching a lot of Mr. India lately, and she has zoned into Hawa Hawaii. And in Hawa Hawaii, Sri Devi does this like breakdance move with her hand, and Janvi does the exact same movement in her with her hand, and it's just like watching Hawa Hawaii together with that just made me like, Miss Sri Devi, That was a bit sad. But yeah, so I mean, I think Janvi is also. I like like most of them. Like I don't think Ananya Pandey is there for a long time. There's like you missed her even, right, Amrita? But like there's such a gap in experience between these actresses too, right? Like they either they're 1-2 movie in, or they've like had a career of 10-15 years. So it's also normal that Katrina and Anushka know what they're doing in front of camera, but also they have faith that they're going to be presented well. So it's kind of that thing where it takes I don't know, they have that kind of freedom yet, these new actresses. So it was kind of that
good
balance.
point.
Yeah. And it seems bindas the way they shot it, but there's like 50 stylists and cameramen behind them and stuff like that. So still, it's like an artificiality of freedom, but it's a lovely clip and it works for me for sure. Did you like it, Sujoy?
Yeah, it was likable. I mean, what's there not to like when we have Katrina and Anushka on there?
Yeah. Let's move on. We've got Sandeep or Pinky Farrar. That trailer also came out, right?
Yeah.
This might be the first Dibakar Banerjee trailer I like. I've never. It's happened. I kind of like.
Of all the movies, you like an Arjun Kapoor and Parineeti Chopra movie.
Yeah, but I like Arjun Kapoor. Like I've said this I like Arjun Kapoor. I don't mind him. I think he's okay. He does terrible movies, but I think he is kind of okay. So I'm not like on hate thing. I think even Parineeta is so talented, but she's just messed up her career, and like this public persona she's created around her is terrible. But like this almost brings you back to Ishaqzadeh, right? I think that's what they're aiming for. But I don't know what Yashraj has on Arjun Kapoor that all of his movies are getting such terrible releases from them, right? Like even like Aurangzeb, which is probably my favorite Arjun Kapoor movie still, didn't even get a theatrical release, or it got like a very short window of release. Apparently Sandeep...
it just flew under the radar, right?
Totally. People should go watch that movie. It's really, really good. And that's probably why I still have hope for Arjun Kapoor, because I actually have seen that movie. And Parineeti's career has been terrible for the last few years. And I think that's the kind of vibe they're kind of going for. But again, this movie was announced a while back and now it's suddenly releasing. I don't know.
I love that you said I think that's the vibe they're going for. It's like a collection of flops. Like that's the vibe they're going for. But yeah, this is like basically a collection of people whose careers Aditya Chopra has basically set out to destroy. There's Parineeti Chopra, whom he's advised to the point where she's unemployable. There's Arjun Kapoor, whom he's employed to the point where everybody thinks he's a flop. There's Dibakar Banerjee, who was such a rising talent and now like is nowhere to be seen. So it's basically like, and the movie's coming out on the 20th, and we are recording this on, what's the date today? Like the 8th?
8th, yeah.
Yeah, the movie and the trailer released, 2 days ago?
Yeah.
So it's like, who, in this day and age, like who releases a trailer with like 2 weeks to go? Like nobody.
Yeah.
Normally it's 6 weeks, like a trailer run. It starts 6 weeks
At
before the
least.
release. Yeah. Even Rohit Shetty keeps 6 weeks, and he's notorious for having a very short promotional tour.
Having said that, like this is releasing, I think, a week before Sooryavanshi, so this will get annihilated by that.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I don't get it. Like, I don't understand what Yash Raj is trying to do. Like, are these like tax write-offs? Is Aditya Chopra just running the biggest money laundering scam in Bollywood? Like, what is happening?
Yeah, I don't understand it either. You almost get what like Dharma is trying to do, right? And like the movie, like when they have a movie like Drive, they just pawned it off to Netflix and they were okay. I just watch it on Netflix. We just made it, watch it there. But I don't know what this is. Like Yashraj also has a deal with Prime, right? All of their movies get released there, or they could probably release this on Netflix if they wanted to. So I don't know why this like ugly stepchild treatment of Dibakar Banerjee, which I don't necessarily like his movies, but I think a lot of film people like his movies and feel he's a talented filmmaker, right? So yeah, I don't know what dark secrets they're holding on these guys that they're just treating them so badly. And
Dibakar has a 3-film contract. So the first one that he'd made for them was Byomkesh Bakshi, which again, it had Sushant Singh Rajput, who's like another actor that Aditya Chopra's screwed over. So it's like, I don't get it. Like, why do you sign these people if you hate them so much?
Yeah.
Why don't you let them go?
Yeah, and I don't know, either give them free reign to these directors to make the movie they want, or control it and then at least promote it because you've controlled it and you have the product you wanted. So this doesn't seem either or. So I don't know what they're trying to do. It's an odd one, but the trailer itself, Amrita, what did you think about it?
I don't know what to feel about it. I think the reason why I feel that way is because it stars Arjun and Pariniti. I feel like if it had starred anybody else, if it had been because Dibakar usually makes these really offbeat films with these no-name people and then gets these amazing performances out of them. So, but the thing is, I've seen Pariniti and Arjun, and like you said, it's not that they're bad performers, but it's just that it's been a while since either of them had that it factor. And I just don't know what this is going to be. And also the fact that they're dumping it on the audience the way they are, it makes me think that maybe they know something that I don't. So, I don't know how much to trust this trailer.
Yeah. So Joy, what about you? Because would you think this would be better if it was starring Abhay Deol instead of Arjun Kapoor?
I think so. I think I would trust Abhay Deol more than Arjun Kapoor. But then I really don't know what to expect from this movie yet. I mean, the first bit looks like it's something in the zone of NH10 where they are having some sort of a violent incident, and then the second bit just seems like set in a Shubh Mangal Savdhan kind of a universe with Neena Gupta and Sanjay Mishra and all of that. Yeah. So it will be interesting to see how those two come together and those two stories come together, I suppose, because what they are. It sort of looks like a serious movie, but then there is a lighthearted tone in the second bit of the trailer, and it's a bit confusing. But I would like to be surprised by it. But yeah, I'm not sure why. Again, as we said, what was the reason behind keeping it so hush hush for so long? Yeah, we knew that Dibakar Banerjee was making this movie for so long, but then the trailer dropped all of a sudden. We didn't even know it was getting a release. But yeah.
Yeah, it's odd. Maybe also it doesn't have any songs or something that they can't promote it. There was this roundtable discussion with Dibakar Banerjee with Anupam Chopra on Film Companion about political movies, and he was talking a lot. He was talking so much. I was like, dude, you talk more than you actually make movies. But anyway, he was saying, I really don't like him. He was also saying that he doesn't want movie songs in his narrative and things like that. I think that's what he was saying from all of the words he was saying. So maybe this doesn't seem, at least the first part of the movie, doesn't seem like it would have any place for songs in it. So maybe there's one of the promotional tools gets taken away, right? When you're making a movie like this. So I don't know, maybe. But it's weird.
Dibakar is made. I can't really think of a movie that he's done where it has your normal Bollywood song and dance routine. If you see Bomkesh or if you see LSD or DEVI or all of this, he has really
good DEVI is Anurag Kashyap though.
LSD, I think you mean LSD.
Oh, LSD is what I mean. Okay. But he does interesting music in his films, but they're not traditionally shot. They're more background music, and he is able to promote them. It's not like he can't. Yeah. He doesn't have a soundtrack to promote. So I honestly, I feel like this movie probably died in the editing process. That's the vibe I get from the way
or on Aditya Chopra's desk.
Yeah, basically that's what I meant actually.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Chalo, next one because police aa gayi hai.
Yes.
मुंबई हिंदुस्तान का दिल और हिंदुस्तान के इस दिल ने आज तक कई बार सहे इसकी शुरुआत हुई थी 1993 सीरियल बॉम्ब ब्लास्ट से, फिर 2002 बस ब्लास्ट, 2006 ट्रेन ब्लास्ट और 2008 ताज 26/11। मगर मुंबई पर उनका सबसे बड़ा वार अब भी होना बाकी था, और इस वार को रोकने की जिम्मेदारी थी मुंबई एंटी टेररिज्म स्क्वाड के एक योद्धा की, सूर्यवंशी।
Sooryavanshi, that trailer is out too. How are you? Are you in the mood for more fascism, guys?
How are you coping?
I'm okay. I think I'm okay because, I think I made this. I grew up in a very racist environment, right? I knew proper racists, like people that had neo-Nazis thinking and proper skinheads. And the thing is, I could get along with them. I can get along with a neo-Nazi, I can get along with a skinhead, and they're not physically attacking me, which would not work out well for them. But I can deal with that kind of thing. I have more of an issue with when you're trying to be this liberal, everything is fine kind of thing, and then you sneak in a sneaky anti-bigot, anti-thing. Rohit Shetty, I know where he stands. He's a conservative, I'm gonna shoot rapist in the head, whatever kind of thing. Super right-wing, super conservative. That's his view about movies. Akshay's like that. Ajay Devgan is like that. Ranveer Singh will do anything for praise and money. Pyar ka bhuka hai, you can make him do anything. So I knew what this movie was gonna be, and it kind of delivers on that, but I don't know, maybe it's the first trailer. I don't think it's that impressive. I would imagine, a stunt explosion, big thing, like Avengers kind of trailer, all of these guys are finally coming together. And watching the trailer, I was still most excited to see Kareena in it more than anything. And apparently Rohit Shetty, didn't even care that Kareena was in there. So it's a really odd trailer, and I was hoping that it would get me excited, but Akshay looks really weird and scrawny, and I don't know what look he chose for this movie. Maybe age is getting to him, but he seems very... I don't know what he did, but it looks weird. None of the stunts look that impressive to me. So I don't know what to think of it. I think most people are excited to see Singham, so maybe they should make a third Singham more than anything, right? I don't know. What did you think, Sujoy?
It's a fucking 4 minutes 15 seconds long trailer, man. Who the makes trailers that long? I mean, अब trailer देख लिया तो movie क्यों देखे हम? And you can just see the lack of imagination of Rohit Shetty. If you flip a card, that's not your job, and I don't know, it's just tiring. The trailer is tiring. The movie is going to be even more so. And yeah, I have zero excitement to see this movie, but maybe I will. I don't know.
I'll drag you to it, man. I took you to Baaghi 3. So I'll definitely Sooryavanshi. You're not getting away from it or seeing this for hashtag content. Amrita, you're too far, so I can't, force you. What are you gonna even watch this movie?
No, because if I want to see police beating people and extrajudicial killings, all I need to do is go on Twitter and there's real life police doing it all over my timeline. So that's fine. Yeah. I'm going to be a hard pass, but then also I'm not the audience for this film. Let's be clear. I was never going to be the audience for this film. So it's not I don't know how much the way the world is right now. I feel there is an inbuilt audience for this kind of a thing. Yeah. But you can only hope that people's bloodlust is satisfied by watching these movies rather than exacerbated by watching these movies. That's my only hope. I hope them fantasizing about killing innocent people on the road is something that they're happy to just watch on screen as opposed to something that they're doing in real life. Yeah. So if they can just confine their bloodlust to the big screen, then at this point in time, I'm at a place where I'm hoping that's that's containment for them.
Because that's what I also said on Twitter. I think at least when the 24th, when the movie comes out, all the rioters and people that are beating up people will go have something to do in the cinema and watch their kind of movies, right? Instead of maybe one day these poor innocent souls that are getting beat up will have some, respite from them. So it's that audience. That's the audience they're going for. They're going for the police, and like he's very even dismissive of any sort of criticism or, even if you raise the point. I think there was some interview with him and he's like, he doesn't even see it. He's like totally blind to any sort of criticism. It doesn't matter to him, and it's going to be
the movie poster itself has riot police and he's standing center stage amongst them. It's just so done in bad taste. It's like, and he's not aware of it, which is like,
no, he doesn't care. They are aware. They don't care. Like, I think there's the difference there. They are on board of this imagery. They feel that police should be hitting people. That's what they feel. They feel that, if this criminal or whatever is a criminal, they just shoot him. Shoot him in the street in front of everybody. That's what they feel. It's not that they're blind to it. The cruelty is the point. That's what I feel. It's the Donald Trump way of viewing the world. Like, no criticism affects them. They are on board of this vision, and they're not gonna change from it. You just you can only fight it. And I think a lot of people would say, like, why do I even go watch these movies? Why do I want to ban? Why do I just not boycott them in a way? But I want to know what the enemy is thinking. Like, I want to figure out what they are so I can predict their next movie, so I want to see what they're thinking. I want to go. That's how I feel about it. Kareena's gonna be there. She's probably the most sensible one of all of these 4 or 5 people involved in it.
By the looks of it, Akshay is going to lose their child, right? And Kareena is clearly upset about whatever happens in that.
But by the way, that shot was very reminiscent of the Messiah Netflix show, Messiah. There's an exact copied scene in that. So I don't know if they saw it or they copied it, but it's just weird that it was exactly the shot that they got. And it feels to me that Rohit Shetty has dealt with Kareena's role as an afterthought. So it might be just watch something and put it in there. I must say that I do think that Rohit Shetty movies do have a very they never portray the women in a bad light, like the female actresses. They're always like good roles for them. So that's one thing. So I think Kareena maybe should have picked that up from there, or she wanted to work again with Akshay, and it's like a big movie. So I get why she's doing it. And I don't think you can fight the flow. The country and like the sensibility even globally is going to a certain way. So it is what it is, I guess. It's tiring,
except for the fact that apparently he doesn't consider her to be an important part of the film at all. So
yeah.
I can't even be bothered to not verbalize it to the press. It's not even that he's saying it to her face. It's just he's going out and about in the world, and it's just he doesn't care. Anyway. That's what I'm saying. He doesn't care at all. Shall we quickly run over some movies that we watched? So Amrita, maybe you go first. You saw the short film DEVI, right? I finally watched something. There's a series that's I don't know what it is. It's just a series of shorts that's been produced by this drinks company. And it's on YouTube. And there was this one particular one that everyone was talking about last week. It's called Baaghi, and it has Kajol and Shruti Hassan, Neha Dhupia, and a bunch of other actors. And I don't know whether I should go spoilery. I think I shouldn't, because it's a short film. It's how long is it? It's maybe 10-15 minutes.
Yeah.
And you I really do recommend you just going in blind, because you kind of think it's one thing at the beginning of the short, and then it's a completely different thing, and there's a moment at the end that completely it's absolutely unexpected, and just it's very shocking, and it's definitely leaves you with a lot to think about. So yeah, I highly recommend it. And it's also really nice to see all these women together. I would love to see like a movie with all of these people together, but maybe about something a little bit more lighthearted.
Yeah. Did you watch it, Sujoy, or did you not get a chance?
I did watch it.
What did you think?
I will definitely go with Amrita's. I don't know if I should tell anything more, but yeah, just go in blind, and it's only like 13-14 minutes, and yeah, great acting, great cast, and I don't know if even saying that there is a shock ending to it is doing it favor.
Yeah, as I was saying it, I was like, maybe I shouldn't have said anything.
But it's okay. Dekho.
Yeah, I don't like. I knew where it was gonna go, and I think it still works. So that's the thing with the shock ending or whatever you want to call it. I don't think it's surprising, but it's effective. Like it hits you in the gut, right? And I think that's what makes it work, because you kind of slowly start figuring out what's going on. But then when the conclusion happens, you're like, yeah, this is so messed up, right? I do think it's hard. Like I was watching some of the tweets about it and the reactions of it, and clearly this is the first short movie a lot of Kajal fans have ever watched in their lives, right? Like they're like, oh my god, they make short movies. Like it's only 13 minutes. I was like, yeah, this is what a short movie is. So that was kind of funny, but it's also like it's cool that like you can only make this kind of content when you have backing from a big corporate behind it, right? Like it's like the budget is very high. It took a lot of skill and production values, and it's like a very small idea that you're kind of bringing forward. But you need money. You need like even just having Kajol in it. And that thumbnail on YouTube of her with those, puffed up eyes, tear-filled eyes, that's such a strong visual that it makes you want to click it, right? You want to see what Kajol is doing. You haven't seen her in a while. I didn't watch Tanhaji. Probably her role was only 13 minutes in that one too. So you kind of watch it, and it works. And I think that's kind of like that marriage of having a brand spend enough money to give a creative this kind of idea and the resources to make a short movie, which is a medium that's not really well known, or there's no platform for it. You can't show short films in the theater, so YouTube is kind of like the perfect place for it. So it's all of those things coming together, and then also delivering on it, which is really, really cool, I think. I really enjoyed it, and it also then made me realize there's a lot of other short movies that I can check out on this channel and other channels, because that's what YouTube algorithms does. So it's available for free on YouTube. It's called DEVI, I also think people should watch it. I'm gonna recommend it. I'm gonna even have my wife watch it. So it's really, really good. Sujoy, wanna go? Yeah. We're gonna do Thappad quickly.
Yeah, sure.
We both watched it. Amrita, you didn't get a chance yet, but apparently it's going to come out on the 24th of April on Prime, if I'm not mistaken. So people can still watch it. And I actually think it's kind of a good place for it. I mean, there's a whole Twitter thing going on about box office collections of this movie, and Anubhav Sinha is going very hard against... It clearly seems that these are like box office website. What's it called? Box Office India, which has a very like misogynistic, patriarchal, conservative view of movies, and they're like apparently promoting bat figures that this movie has been a flop and this and that. And
not just promoting, but like they are reporting it with a lot of glee. Like it's the headline was like a tight slap for Thappad, and it's so much in bad taste. It's so misogynistic. It's so wrong.
Yeah,
and then they had like a little chaser about like how gay films will never run in India because only gay people care about gay people, and that was about Shubh Mangal Zyada Savdhan. And so it was just like, I don't know why everybody just woke up today and were like, oh my god, this place is like awful. Like they've been awful consistently for years and years and years. Like I think I've told you guys about this. Like I don't know why I ended up on that site, but they had this random like 15-year anniversary sort of write-up about Dil Chahta Hai, and it ran without a byline. And that, by the way, like for those of you who don't really pay attention to that kind of things, like pay attention next time to like what pieces run with a byline and without a byline. And that goes for everything, like whether it's major newspapers or like websites or whatever. You want to check who's putting their name to what, because the moment people take their names off something, there's something off. It's usually some kind of like agenda being played out. Yeah, it's basically somebody just going on a rant and they don't want to be held accountable for that. So that's like a very easy way for you to just recognize when you're trying to be manipulated, like emotionally manipulated. And
just tweet from an anonymous account like everybody else. Why even bother,
But like this film, like this this retrospective of Dil Chahta Hai was basically about like how like it's the worst film ever, like it ruined Hindi film, like the dialogues were shit, Farhan Akhtar is like the worst director, and I was like, what the hell? Like, where did this revisionist history come from? And they were just like on a screen, and that's when like I immediately knew that I had to like close that website down. So I've never understood why so many people give that website bhav. I think just because they have like numbers on it, they're like, oh, they must know something. But I don't even know how correct those numbers are, because like for Bollywood, like the numbers, like, or Indian cinema basically, the numbers are like anybody's guess, because a lot of it is like cash money. So I'm like, I don't understand where you're getting all these numbers from.
Yeah. But the movie itself, Sujoy, what did you think of Thappad?
I mean, there's so much to ponder upon in this movie. Like, it touches upon so many different things of so many different lives. But obviously, at the center of it is the main incident where Taapsee Pannu's character, Amrita, gets slapped. Sorry, Amrita.
At least this Amrita is better than like Shraddha Kapoor. Like, I'd rather be like this one.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, it's a wonderfully written movie, and it's like really amazingly executed and acted out by the cast. Like, there is no like actual villain of the piece. It's just circumstances and how ingrained our own male privilege and patriarchy is in our society, that we are so oblivious of our own privileges, and how that plays out in other lives, the lives that of our own family members, of even the most progressive father does not know his own privilege, or the many little sacrifices that a woman has to go through, and we are completely fine with it even today. It touches on class, it touches on gender roles and everything, and the more you rewatch this movie, you will find people in your own lives that you can draw parallels with it, and it's an amazing movie. And yeah, I would like to rewatch this movie when it comes on streaming, obviously.
Yeah. It's like what you said about the father. Anybody can kind of get something out of this movie, right? And like it will work for women, but it will also work for fathers-in-law and mothers-in-law and like children and women, and it goes like, it offers a new perspective. Even if you are like, I try to be aware of a lot of things, but I watched it and I was embarrassed of my own behavior, past and current, about things that I take for granted or things that I do. And that doesn't happen much in Indian cinema, that it makes you question yourself, right? And Thappad makes you do that. And it also opens an avenue to have a discussion. Like, whoever you've watched this movie with, you can have a discussion about things. And I think even that is positive. And I also don't know what people are complaining this movie is about, because I think it seems to be that they're just putting this together with movies like Chapak, and like it's like some fear of feminism, I think, but I don't necessarily think this movie is about feminism, and I think it's very smartly very contained to this one incident that happens to one couple, but the dynamics around that event are universal. And I think that's what makes it very, very interesting. And there's, like you said, there's so many different layers and little hints that, because it's portrayed so starkly, you kind of like sit up and are like, oh my God, that's something I do, or one of my friends has said and I've not reacted to, you know? Or like what gets me a lot is like when I'm in kind of a networking environment where there are like people or men that I don't know, and you need to be cordial, and they might be drunk or they might make a comment, and you're like, why didn't I be a hero? You know, why didn't I, say something at that time? And
or not even being hero, but you just call out whatever is unfair.
Yeah, basic decent human being. And like even as men, we avoid conflict, we avoid situations, and it does kind of like watching it so starkly on screen is like, man, that is like, it's embarrassing. And I think it's a feeling of embarrassment that we all maybe need to sit with a little bit, right? To make us understand, like, next time we maybe don't want this feeling anymore. So, yeah, for me, it really hit me like a thappad. Like, it was a really, really good movie. And I strongly suggest people should watch it. It's a very high recommend. And I think, honestly, I think at the end of the year, I'll still be thinking about this movie. It'll probably end up at my best of the year, because it really, like, it did much more for me than Article 15 did. And I was actually supposed to interview Anubhav Sinha, and I was trying to figure out how I would formulate the questions and things like that. But his 3 movies have been Mulk, it's been Article 15, and now Thappad. And I think me personally, I could, like with Mulk, it was about the demonization of Muslims. So I could be kind of the good side. Like, I'm a Muslim, I'm being demonized, guys, right? Article 15 is about the Indian caste system. I'm not in it, I'm a Muslim, I'm Pakistani, this is not my discussion. But this is very much my discussion. Like, Thappad is very much my discussion. I'm a married, privileged male, right? And I was like, man, this is like super, this hits me, this is embarrassing, this is not a good feeling to sit with, but that's what, I've not felt that way watching a movie in a long time, and I appreciate it. I appreciate this movie a lot. I really like it.
Did you take your wife to watch it?
I did.
And did she like it?
She loved it. It's her favorite movie of the year, and I think it's because it hits on so many different notes. It's not just about the couple, but it's also about the kind of like the psychological violence that the family does by not picking a side. And it makes it larger than that point, and it really resonated. For her, it resonated for me. We had a very long discussion about the movie later on, and I actually asked her mid-interval, I was like, I'm not like this guy, right? And I was so shaken to my core that I wanted some assurance from my wife that I'm not like that guy. Like, I'm like bearing my soul here, like, how much it hit me, right? I wanted to ask, like, I'm not like, and she said I wasn't. But I was like, still, like, shit, I'm still a bit like that guy. It has to, it's so universal, right?
I just hope like people go watch this movie and they are able to introspect and draw parallels in their own life and learn from it and be better, and grow. And I just hope that people just don't shrug it off as a piece of entertainment, like a drama that's being playing. Because this movie reaches out to a lot.
Yeah. No, it's a good one. Anything you wanted to add, Amrita?
Times are going, so let's talk about Baaghi.
लोग रिश्तों में हदें पार करते हैं. मेरा एक ऐसा रिश्ता था जिसके लिए मैंने सरहदें पार कर दी. बाबा हमेशा खिलाते थे ना,
बंद कर.
Baaghi.
Bagheera.
Baaghi. तुम भी बागी. सब बागी. So Baaghi is Tiger Shroff's third Baaghi movie. He's coming off a war, and I think the contrast between war and Baaghi couldn't be starker. And we made a lot of fun of war, right? But war is a masterpiece compared to what Baaghi is, right?
No, it is a masterpiece, like independent of Baaghi or not. Like I think the theory is like War was released and Sajid Nadiadwala saw War and he was like, "मुझे ये picture बनानी है ही बनानी है," and then like Ahmed को बुलाओ, and then like just made it up as they went along. It's so terrible. Oh my god.
So basically these movies are like porn movies, like, right? Like not the porn movies of now, but like the older porn movies, like the Dirk Diggler kind of porn movies of that time, where you would have some sort of semblance of a story, but you just want to get to the, the money shots and the action scenes, and the action scenes are getting more and more intense the further they go along in the movie, and they're getting heightened, and there's like more nudity, and all of this is happening in Tiger Shroff movies, especially in Baaghi. And there's a lot of bronzer being used, there's a lot of hair extensions, and it builds up to the climax. And the problem with even that analogy is even the money shot or the climax is very unsatisfying. Like it just suddenly happens like puss, and you feel like, okay, I guess, because so the idea. Oh, by the way, this is a remake of Vittai apparently, which Sujoy told me before the screening, and I was like, no man, that's not possible. I've seen that original. There's no way that this is a remake. And then at the end, the credits happen, and it's actually a remake of that movie, which I was like, how did they even get from that to that? Like, I don't even get it. Like,
probably because they weren't really sure, because apparently they credited it as a Telugu movie instead of a Tamil movie.
Yeah. So, and when we watched the trailer, right, we were jokingly saying that we don't know if Ritesh Deshmukh is playing a disabled person or not. I've watched the movie and I still don't know if he's playing a disabled person or not.
You know what? Like, I was watching Sucharita's review, like not a movie review of this, and the first thing she was like, I know a lot of you were wondering if Ritesh Deshmukh is special needs in this film. And I was like, wow, so it's not just Asim and us, it's everybody. Like, it's enough for her to have noticed online and like mention it in her review. Yeah. So, yeah.
No, but I know the theory. I've told Suchin, I think you're blasting Khandaan podcast in the film companion offices, and they're picking up our talking points. So, Sucharita, you and me are on the same brain length. Come on, Khandaan podcast. Like, aa jao, apne log hai.
Sir, please, sir. Episode mein yes.
But like, I don't like it's tough because like we can't even get into the physics of the movie or the action sequences, because they're all nonsense. Like even none of that makes sense. I think we were laughing about it when we were watching the movie. It makes no sense whatsoever. But at the end, like, I just feel bad for Tiger, because he's like fully committed to these kind of movies, and he's just not, he's surrounded by untalented people that cannot harness the tigerness of it all. And I do think he's getting slightly better with every movie, like minuscule baby steps, but he is getting better. He's more aware of the camera. He understands what he's doing. And he's like, running around bare naked chested in Serbia doing all of these shots. And he's like, in the making of, he's like super cold. He's getting cramps. He's putting it all out there. But he's putting it all out there for Ahmed Khan, who's a terrible, terrible filmmaker. He's never made even a half decent movie, right? So that is just painful for me to watch, because if you get like a Siddharth Anand, who is not even a talented filmmaker, but he has the budget, he has the resources, and they put some thought in what they want to do, you can get like a decent, good movie out of it. But Ahmed Khan is not able to do that. And then you had Shraddha Kapoor in it, which...
Let's talk about Shraddha. So, Asim, what do you really think about Shraddha?
Like, the thing is, I don't want to say what I really think, because I think it's unfair. I don't want to, like massacre somebody because I just cannot stand their face on screen. I don't want to be like that. But whatever she's selling, I'm not buying. That's what I'm going to say. Like, nothing works for me. Not the comedy, not the dancing, not the all of Shraddha doesn't work for me. I don't get the appeal. I don't understand. And honestly, Shraddha Kapoor is one of the most popular younger actresses at the moment. And I don't understand what kind of black magic, like...
Is she though? Like, I don't see, like she's never in any of the Stan Wars. Like, nobody even accuses her of nepotism. Like, she's like literally is completely missing from the popular discourse. But she shows up as like, basically like what Tiger calls padding in these movies. Yeah. Like, these action movies, Like, she was in that Psycho Sayan film, like what is it? Saho, yeah. She was in like movies like that, like...
Yeah, but she was also called like, Amrita, which is hilarious.
Yeah. Or Koi Naam Nahi Mila. Right, so she's in like movies like Baaghi and... Baaghi and Saho and like things like that, right? Like, not like... She's not like... She's just there in like... She's just the girl for like movies that are clearly meant to be the starring vehicle for whatever guy. And also like Tiger, like I think when he started out, he was making these movies because Jackie's finances are like legendary for being just terrible. So I think they had to like sell their house and everything. So it was just really bad. So I think at the beginning he just knew what he was good at. Like, he was good at action. So he was just making these action movies. And that did the trick. And then he just keeps making these things. And I think it's about time that he tried something different. And maybe he just knows his limitations and he doesn't think that he can actually act in a movie. That has to be the reason why he put up with like all the gaslighting that he did in War behind the scenes. But I'd really like to see Tiger do something other than like flex his biceps.
I don't know. I'm not sure of that. I think he's okay in his zone to flex his bicep. I just think he doesn't have talented people around him. Like this whole coterie of Sajid Nadiadwala is like really basic directors. They're not good at all. And I think that's kind of the problem. He needs guidance. He needs like somebody that... But then also the problem is, and I think I don't know if we were discussing this last week, right? Is on the episode that people probably won't be able to hear, but there's just no good action movies in Hindi cinema. Yeah. Like, it's this or Sooryavanshi, and none of those are really good. So he's in a field that doesn't have a lot of talent, unfortunately. And like they were talking in, I think it was the making of the war bike chase sequence on YouTube, and they got an action director from South Africa. And they were very proud of that. And I was like, what South African directors are there? Like, there's not even like great action movies coming out of South Africa that I know, right? So it's not even that they can get like a top tier action director. And even then, the action looks amazing compared to anything that's out there. So here, if you have like local people doing local bullshit, it's just not on any scale. It's not good enough. And I think the first...
I don't see like... I don't like having watched Baaghi 3, it just feels like there was no storyboarding into the action scenes. There's no set choreography. Yeah. It's just like this will be scene 1 and then no relation to that scene 2 will start from here. Yeah. And that's how it just is. And we are supposed to just watch it and consume it and just leave at that. It's just really annoying that it treats audiences to be so stupid. It's almost like disrespecting the audience. And also like we noticed how much of a botched editing was done at the censor board, I suppose, because they had to edit out all the violence. in some way, and yeah, never mind.
They had to edit out the violence. What?
Yeah, I think they made it like PG-13 or the equivalent for kids because it is a kids movie. Honestly, it's a kids movie more than anything. But I think the character of Shraddha Kapoor was supposed to be, she's like saying a lot of gali galoch, like she has a very like rough tongue. But then they in edit change every of her lines, so it just seems super odd what she's saying because her lips are moving separately independently from what she's saying. Which it makes Shraddha Kapoor look even weirder than she is. So this movie is bhankas, honestly. It's nonsense. And it's not even like me and Sujoy. My idea was let's go in there and we'll laugh at it because it's so bad it's good kind of thing, and it's not even that. It's just bad. So like even that like morbid humor that you can get out of it, you won't get out of it because it's just tiring. The best part is honestly
Asim's exact lines were मजाक करने आए थे, मजाक हमारा बन गया, हम चूतिए हैं, हम चूतिए हैं.
हम ही चूतिए the best part is probably Jackie Shroff. Like he still has
and his and like Marvel studio level of de-aging on Jackie Shroff.
Yeah. It was fun to kind of see those two together. That was kind of cool. But yeah, Baaghi 3 skip. But it's not for us. You knew it wasn't for us. But it's not even like, I think even if you had some pleasure out of war and you thought this could kind of like flow over, it won't. It's not fun. It's bad. Let's move on to our main punishment, which is Dil.
तो मेरी सहेली मिस मिमी को किस करेंगे? मिस मिमी.
Yeah.
What do you mean main punishment? It stars Aamir Khan. You're his number one fan. Aren't you happy to watch him?
Oh God, I knew it was gonna get me right. I was dreading, so Dil came out in 1990. It was a massive hit. I think it was the biggest hit of that year, right? The soundtrack is still one of the best selling soundtracks. I don't know. I don't even remember this movie that well because I watched it until the intermission as a kid, and I never watched the rest of it. Like Aamir was not on my radar as an actor, and even he had like, I counted this on IMDb. This was his 5th movie. All of them were flops except for his, Qayamat Se Qayamat Tak. This was his first hit after Qayamat Se Qayamat Tak. This was Madhuri's 23rd movie. Let me just like 22nd movie already. Can you imagine? Wow. And it shows how much this is not Aamir's movie, this is Madhuri's movie. Can we just agree upon that first of all?
Yeah.
So, Amrita, why did you do this to us?
I wanted something that would bring you pain, but not so much that I would be pained more than you guys.
Yeah.
So
this was the Brexit of it all, right? You want other people to hurt, but you don't know how much you're gonna suffer yourself through it, right?
I basically went through, I didn't want to do, we had already done, Main Hoon Na. So basically, I knew that it needed to be something that was like Aamir, because we had Shah Rukh, we had Salman, and now we needed to do, an Aamir film. And then I wanted to do something early because it's been a while since we've done, an early film. And I hadn't watched Dil I must have watched it, maybe 91, 92, pretty soon after it came out, I would guess.
Mm-hmm.
But I hadn't seen it since then, And I have to say, my God, how they say, you shouldn't let kids watch things at an impressionable age because you don't know what happens to their little psyches. Yeah. It is so true because I was watching this film and I remembered literally 90% of it. I was like, yeah, I remember this. Yeah, I remember this. It was just blazed onto my brain, and I was just like, oh my God, what kind of shit is stored in my brain? I don't even want to know.
Do you know what I remember? So I used to watch Lehre a lot, right, on VHS, and I remember an ad for Dil, and the ad was basically when Aamir just breaks the stool and sets fire on it, and they're taking the peras, and Saeed Jaffrey is almost about to combust in anger. That's the promo of Dil that I saw, and I still remember that scene so vividly. It's
that scene is iconic. Like them getting married inside the most spacious, large, well-lit, like prison cell that has ever existed. But yeah, like so much of this movie, I was just like, yeah, I remember this. Yeah, I remember this. And the things that I didn't remember, like I'd forgotten that the movie opens with that extended dream sequence for Anupam Kher. And like Aamir and Madhuri, like they don't even show up until like 15-20 minutes into the film. It's like really weird. But yeah, like I'd forgotten.
I think it's Indra Kumar living his own fantasies through Anupam Kher's character, you know.
I also think he's living his fantasy through Aamir Khan's character, to be honest. Like, I remember... So, I remember when this movie came out, and it was a massive, massive hit. And Indra Kumar the director was seen as this, new voice in Bollywood making these amazing movies, right? Massive, massive hit movies. And then... I think after the third, fourth movie, he switched over. After Mann, I think, he made Grand Masti or Masti, one of those movies. And now he's only making Dhamal and Mastis and all these kind of movies. And there was this narrative about, oh my God, this man that made these classical movies like Dil and Beta is now making movies like Masti. Like, what's going on? But now I watched Dil and I was like... This is the same guy. Why was there a surprise? This was the same guy making the exact same movie. And I think at that time we were just, I don't know, it's the same guy. And this whole movie is about embarrassing Madhuri in public, like demeaning her. It's such a thankless role for Madhuri too, right? It's like... The roles these women had to take to be part and be big in Bollywood is just terrible.
I feel like this is the kind of role that passed for like powerful woman role.
Yeah.
Because it's that thing that Sahanshilta ki Murat, like Devi type woman who's like main sab kuch sahungi kind of thing.
Yeah.
Which is basically like her being a doormat. There was an entire like genre like that in like the 70s and 80s. And I think this was like probably one of the last of those types of movies where basically the entire thing is sort of like torture porn, except like it's like, like just misogynist porn, where you're just putting the woman through like one humiliation after another humiliation, and then she's still like pativrata and like a good daughter-in-law, whatever. And then at the end of it, like everybody's like, oh, look at her, she never even said it, she never complained, and like what a wonderful woman she is, like that kind of stuff.
It's the 90s version of a Madhur Bhandarkar movie. Like Madhur Bhandarkar, all these women, they're such powerful roles and like feminist movies, and you watch them and it's just like torture porn. They're just putting women through the ringer and they don't even get a happy ending at the end. Like they just die, mar gayi. Like what? After all that, poor Tabu, that kind of thing.
I did like laugh though, like in the introduction scene for Aamir, like they had this close up of his. So Aamir is basically a lucha lafanga in this film, right? Like that's how he starts off.
Where's the lie?
No, he's basically Andaz Apna Apna's Aamir without any like... Clearly Andaz Apna Apna was a take on this character, but jokingly like everybody understands कि 2 number वाला बहुत तेज है, that kind of thing. Like, but this is played for real, whereas in Andaz Apna Apna it was played humorously, right? So this is what the character is how I see it.
Like he's such a advanced lafanga that you can tell that he's harassing a woman just by looking at his feet. Like, the entire introduction scene for him is like focused on just his feet. as he's harassing a woman, and you can tell that he's harassing a woman. Like he's literally harassing a woman with his feet. It's like the most advanced harassment that I have ever seen.
Like the shortest feet in the world, so per square inch, it's the most harassing feet in the world.
But this is like classic Aamir. Like, you know, he's got the block heels, he's got the pants under his armpits, he's got the mullet.
So many mullets, man. Like all of his college friends look like all of the Desi guys in the 90s. Like they all look like that.
Exactly. Like the whole time I was like, wait, I've seen this guy before. And then I was like, oh no, I haven't seen this guy. He just looks like the other guy.
Yeah. It does, like when you do have the songs, you have so many background artists and things like that, that dancers, you're like, oh my god, that guy used to be there in every damn movie, you know? And like seriously, like uncle looking types still being college dancers in Khambe Jaise Khadi Hai, and you're like, oh, it's that guy from that Chalbaz, he was in that one too. Oh, that guy, he was in the background in Ram Lakhan.
It's all Saroj Khan's dancing association members, right?
Yeah, this movie is bad, man. What can I say? I did not enjoy it. Like the note I was constantly...
The rest of the episode is going to be several flavors of, man, this movie is so bad.
Yeah. But Sujoy, what is your memory? Were you allowed to watch this movie? Did you go to watch this with your sister?
I can't...
Do you have any...
No, I don't remember watching this movie completely. Like this... Yeah. Like I've watched this movie in bits everywhere. Or like it when it was on TV or in on a neighbor's TV, them playing like on a VHS tape. But I don't remember watching this movie completely. But I still knew what it was about. You know, there was, you know, the fathers of these family are not going to get along, and there will be resistance, and there will be a song called "Humne Ghar Choda Hai," and they are living in the wilderness with a wooden gate and, you know, not proper hygiene situation, like in Qayamat Se Qayamat Tak. And then, yeah, they will reconcile apparently at the end. But yeah, I think my only memories were to do with the songs, and that's what 90s movies are mostly, like early 90s, when I didn't get to watch much of the movies, but the songs were almost omnipresent.
I mean, I think we were all quite young when this movie came out. Like, I think I was like just 10 or something like that. So it's not like, you know, I have like big memories or there was nothing necessarily even at my age that would appeal to me, right? Like there was no action. This was not like, you know, I was 10, you know, so I was like, I want Amitabh or Anil Kapoor fighting and this and that. But it had nothing on it. Like it was more kind of a love story, so it didn't really appeal. I was not at that age yet, but it was a massive hit for, you know, teenagers and, you know, like our the generation just before us, you know, that kind of thing.
Yeah. But I would like to like point out like Indra Kumar as a filmmaker. This is his first movie, right? And just there is so much, I don't know, a lack of. It's very shoddily made. Like, you know, if you compare even like Mansoor Khan's Qayamat Se Qayamat Tak, and that came before this movie, and you compare how that was made and the story structure and, you know, how the editing and everything, and then you compare Dil with it. It's just one scene just plays like a sketch on a TV or a Nautanki even, you know. It's just like you line up the characters in a camera frame and everybody starts talking.
Yeah, but it is interesting to see it in the evolution of like love stories in Bollywood, right? Because before this era, it was where lovers run away from their family because they don't want, and they die. It was very much kind of the Romeo Juliet kind of template, like, right? And then
Ek Duje Ke Liye and all of that.
Yeah, and then it was like these love stories started where they run away and they end up, you know, getting married. But this had also that vibe of Ishq, where we talked about with our friend Harun Rashid, where they're almost defiant in their love. Like they're in your face to their parents, like, do what you want, we will be lovers. And like, so that was kind of a very different vibe than the previous ones. And this kind of era went on until DDLJ came out. And why DDLJ is a game changer, right? Where it said, you know, we have to bring our parents on board. And that just changed the entire paradigm of how these love stories were being made. Because before that, it was kind of a very combative and defiant relationship, right? And DDLJ changed it. I know when we even posted the DDLJ episode, a lot of people were kind of saying, it's still such an outdated movie and it's still so patriarchal and things like that. But at that time, this is what it was pushing up against the Dils and the Bobbies and, that kind of thing. So that's why DDLJ was a changer and was so fresh and modern, because these were the kind of movies we were getting before that. Well, I mean, a few notes that I had, like, I think the music was a massive hit, but even the songs, like Khambe Jaise Khadi Hai. The word problematic is invented for like when you think of problematic, this is the song you go to, right? It has everything wrong in it, right? And just the dynamics of it, like even the ending of the song is so weird, because do you remember, like, what they do is all of these men, because they're men, like Madhuri is supposed to be 17 in this movie and Aamir is supposed to be 21, right? So I don't understand the college structure in India. How are 17-year-olds in the same as 21? But let's not go into that. We've seen Mehuna, so we can't talk about that. But the last shot of Khambe Jaisi Khadi Hai, which is basically the whole song is harassing Madhuri. That's the dynamic of this entire movie, and it's really, really painful to watch. Like, it's really painful to watch, like, what this is. And I think honestly even Aamir Khan and Madhuri would be embarrassed to rewatch this movie. Like, I could totally get Karisma Kapoor's vibe during the Rajiv Masand interview, where she was like, I've not watched my own movies, and in this case I understand if they don't want to rewatch Dil, because it's really really terrible. And then there's obviously it goes to the line from that scene is then drawn to the fake rape scene, right? We have to talk about that. How was it even for you to did you remember this scene? Because this was my sole memory of this movie, was this scene. And even when I watched it then, it was so bad. And it is even worse. So basically there's this one-upmanship between Madhuri and...
It's not really an one-upmanship, because, like, Madhuri is, like, literally, she doesn't do anything. Like, she just, like, shows up. And then Aamir is just like, oh, I've got to, like, show her place. Like,
no, she splashes him with the mud. That's where it starts, right? She splashes him with the mud.
That's the one thing that she does, and she does it by accident.
And the second thing, she sets up that karate match with that guy.
Yeah.
The worst karate match. Nobody's ever heard of karate in that match. But yeah, okay. So those are the two things she does. Oh no, and then one more thing.
And then, like, she basically accuses him of rape. Like, that's where it goes to. But again, like, like, are you serious? Like, that's what she comes up with, honestly. And then, like, he gives her that big lecture and everything. And then immediately after that, like, she is in love with him.
Yeah.
Like, I'd forgotten that part of it. Like, I'd forgotten that, like, literally he gives her a lecture, threatens her with rape, and then gives her his jacket. Yeah. And then she's completely in love with him. And I was just like, what?
To the point where later on they're having the sad song Oh Priya Priya, right? And there's like flashbacks to their romance together, and that scene is in the shot is in the flashback of their good memories. I was like, Mummy, Daddy, how did you meet? I was like, oh yeah, your dad tried to fake rape me, and that's how we fell in love. Like, what is this?
Yeah.
And like also just the how do you say, the gall of the writers to put the line in where Aamir Khan is holding Madhuri and saying, "Tumhe pata bhi hai balatgar kya hota hai?" Do you even know what rape is? A man saying this to a woman, my mind just bloody exploded. I have no hair. If I had hair, I would pull it out. It's so bad.
And that you're an Indian woman of all women.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. Like...
Indra Kumar splaining.
Yeah. But it also, like, like, it makes you think, like, when Kabir Singh came out, right? There was this idea of male toxicity, right? But there was also like almost a surprise that, oh my God, this can still happen in our day and age, right? There was this sentiment, no? Like this, like, oh, I thought we were more evolved than that. But like if we've, grown up with this nonsense, right? Like when Thappad was coming out, I was kind of like preparing for the interview that never happened. I was watching some like my thing was like I'm fully on board with the idea of this movie. I had not watched it then, but I was like, who is not on board? Who is against these kind of movies? And I was watching some random right-wing conservative video about 7 reasons not to watch Thappad. And this guy had like 70 like photos of like gods behind him, and he was like giving like a 40-minute speech about total nonsense. And he was basically saying like, you shouldn't make a movie like Thappad because there's more suicides of men happening and more men are getting beat up. And I was like, this has nothing to do with anything. But I was like, yeah, like this toxicity has been going on for so long. It is so deeply ingrained where, men have the right to almost say, like fake rape. There's so many more fake rapes than real rapes, and it is so beyond my understanding of thinking or how I think about things. It's like, yeah, it's really, really bad. The movie this made me most think about actually, Dil, is actually Dhadak, which in a way is pretty much the same movie, right? So it's just funny to draw that line from that to this, and whereas Dhadak has so much more to add, where there is some level, there is this idea of class in Dil too, right? That if you watch it very generously, that climbing the social ladder for Anupam Kher to break out of his category of, because he's a kabadia, he's kind of I don't know what the English word of a kabadia is. It's like
a junkyard entrepreneur.
Yeah. He collects junk and then sells it on. But the only way to get out of that would be dowry. So basically selling your son and getting a lot of money back. And
which
because
again makes no sense, because if Madhuri is the only daughter and he wants his son to marry the only daughter of a rich man, then eventually if she's the only child, then all her father's wealth will go to her only, no? In the end, like, who's he giving it to otherwise? There's no other children to divide the inheritance. So why does he need the money up front?
But it's because it's not about the son or the child, it's about him. Like, dowry is mostly about the parents more than the children, right? They want the car now. They want the thing. So I think and I think that also gets on, like, later on when the operation scene is happening, that's what it becomes about, right? So but yeah, there was this idea about, because he does get embarrassed in front of there's 2 scenes where the men, the father figures get embarrassed in public. Did you guys notice that? Like, there was the one with the Anupam Kher scene where he gets his plan, which was a nonsense plan. I don't even understand. Is this supposed to be a funny plan, or the scam that he pulls on Saeed Jaffrey, where he's acting like he's a millionaire to get his attention, get his son married, and then
it's joking. Like a sketch from Bunty Bubbly,
Yeah.
He's running around with bodyguards just to make an impression on this race.
And clearly Anupam Kher is well-to-do. Like, he has money, right? Like, he is successful in his junkyard enterprises, but he gets embarrassed by Saeed Jaffrey in front of all of these people, and the word comes to do take ka kabadiya. You're only worth 2 pence. So it's putting, people in their place. And then Anupam Kher does the same thing in front of just random bystanders, which was just funny. Like, who do these people care? Like, why does Anupam Kher care that random rich people that didn't know him, have never heard from him, or these random people on the street that will just move along? He cares so much that he should not get embarrassed in front of them, that it creates this whole dynamic, right? It's all about male pride. This movie is about male pride more than anything. And it's
also about, like, Indra Kumar's worldview of how raised people are, and this is how raised people act, and how new money versus old money and all of that, and Khandani Izzat and Abru and all of that bullshit, I suppose.
Because it's also about that sequence where what happens is Aamir Khan gets into an accident and Madhuri begs for money to get treatment done, right? We're a bit further in the movie where we want to move along things. And basically Anupam Kher says, I'll give you the money, but you take off your Mangal Sutra, right? And I thought that was such a disturbance sequence, not because of the Mangal Sutra, but then later on he says in front of all of these people, your daughter only has now 2 options. She could or kill herself or she can become a prostitute. And I don't know. It makes me so seethingly mad, man, that thinking and that core idea that is being conveyed in this movie. Yeah.
But also she's 17 years old at this point,
17
by the way.
years old. Yeah. But the idea that all of her honor, all of her value as a person is in a Mangal Sutra, right? That he snatches away. It's really, really bad. Really, really bad. And I don't know if, I don't know if we're being what did somebody call me the other day? You pseudo intellectual lefty liberal. Somebody called me this on Twitter the other day.
I mean, how is that a gali even?
Yeah, and also you got me. That's what I am. That's exactly what
yeah, exactly.
He did get blocked, by the way. But anyway, maybe it's my sensibility. Do you think even there are people out there that think this way? I don't know. I can't. Yeah.
I would say Indra Kumar is one of those people.
Yeah.
I mean, these are themes that you see in his movies over and over again. I mean, a bunch of these themes are present in Ishq as well, which he made years later.
Yeah.
So, yeah, absolutely.
Anything, what else? I mean, it's so badly made. I also feel it's so, it's also such a privileged view that people have that manual labor is so easy. We had a little bit of that in, so they run away, they're in the jungle, and then Aamir just gets a job at a rock quarry, and clearly he's the leader of the rock quarry from the first day he starts there, and then he has enough money to buy a tabela in the jungle or something like that. And it's ridiculous. At least Maine Pyar Kiya shows that, that Salman's character, it's not easy for him to become a manual laborer, right? He's come from this privileged background. Here, Aamir is the king of the day laborers within a day. And even that kind of annoyed me. But at that point, I was like, why am I even watching this movie, right? And it felt like punishment, Amrita. So, mission successful.
Well, let's talk about the positives, right? Which one's your favorite song from the soundtrack? The soundtrack is massive. It still is a belter. I really like it. But which one's your favorite, Amrita?
I think it's Mujhe Neend Na Aaye.
The least problematic of them all.
True.
Yeah, and it's got the traditional Indra Kumar running around tree, the lucky tree as he calls it, right? That's the song that started it all.
But it's so 90s, It's it's your perfect 90s romantic song.
Yeah. Apparently, Alka Yagnik sang most of the songs, but because T-Series was the music company for the music release, and they had only license to use Anuradha Parwal, she re-sang the songs for the movie.
Wow.
Yeah.
I also think like we were talking about Baaghi 3 that a lot of the movie is just set up for an action sequence. I think a lot of it is just a setup for certain songs. So especially O Priya Priya, whatever happens 20 minutes before all of that is just to be able to tell Madhuri is bewafa, and then they can sing O Priya Priya, So it's I don't know, man. Honestly, revisiting even the soundtrack didn't do much for me. like Mujhe Neend Na Aaye. It basically has 7 lines and they're just repeating it 70 times. So, like when we say, oh my god, it's only just another remix and things used to be so much better in the 90s. I rewatched Dil and I'm like, no, they weren't. Like, it's not, I don't, like, I'm not gonna re-listen to the soundtrack of Dil now that I've watched this movie. Like, I don't even like any of the songs. Like, to be honest, like,
wow.
Yeah, it's really shit for me. This movie, like, really, yeah. What about you, Sujoy? What song?
Yeah, I think Mujhe Neend Na Aaye. But I have a question. Like the print that you watched, the Dum Dum Adam is not in that print, right? I saw it on YouTube as well as on Prime. It's not there. I think it was released.
The one that I saw had Dum Dum Adam.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I remember it's because it like I remember like not I remember like I watched it and I was like it was like that song was my least favorite even when I first saw it, and I remember like not liking it because it was just horrifying, and then I saw it again and I was just like, wow, this is just as bad as I remember.
Yeah, I watched it on Prime, and it comes with that Shemaru did the best they could with this print, a disclaimer at the start, like jo bhi hai le lo, bas yahi hai, this is the best we can do.
Apni capacity hai.
Itna hi milenga.
Yeah, exactly. Which it makes me crack up every time when that disclaimer happens. So yeah, so is the song in the movie, or is it like 2000 ka zamana aa gaya, like at the end, like a promo kind of thing? Like does bahane
oh, like she's practicing for something, and then Aamir comes and starts bothering her, and then
with the kela,
and then she slides on the kela, right?
That's legal.
Then the song happens.
Yeah, it's not in the Prime wala print or YouTube wala print. Okay.
Anyway. Yeah. I don't know. I'm just kind of spent on this one, right? I'm done.
Exhausted from watching.
Exhausted, yeah. This was a bad experience for me. But just to kind of say, I have here the top grossing movies of 1990, right? So number 1 is Dil. Number 2 is Ghayal. Then Aaj Ka Arjun, Kishan Kanhaiya, Thanedar, Salman Khan's Baaghi, Baap Namri Beta 10 Nambari, Police Public with Raj Kumar, Ghar Ho To Aisa, and Ashiki. So it's really like these love stories are, really, it was fresh because all we were getting is like, random action movies at that time. So I think that's why it probably also worked. The songs were hits. Madhuri was amazing. Like, we didn't talk enough about her, right? In such a thankless role. Like, Madhuri is so good in everything she does, right? It's, she's a sight to behold. And I think that's what really made it work more than anything. I don't recommend it. I don't recommend it. Like, even people who have good memories of this movie, just listen to the songs or something like that. Don't go back and watch this movie. I don't think it holds up at all. Amrita, final thoughts on Dil and you doing this to us? How do you feel about yours? How do you feel about what is this behavior, Pooja?
I don't understand why Asim is so upset, because I did him a favor and I showed him a movie by his favorite star, Aamir Khan. He should be delighted. But for the rest of you, like, don't bother watching this film. It's terrible, like he said. Like, in fact, don't even watch the songs. Like, you can maybe watch Mujhe Neend Na Aaye. That's about it.
Sujoy?
I think rewatching Dil made me like appreciate the kind of cinema that we get right now, because it's shoddily made and it's got so many problems, and like it also made me aware of typical 90s Bollywood trope, and they like even throughout the movie they have zero creativity, and they have even lesser creativity in the last 20 minutes. They run out of juice and they have to resolve all these unresolved conflicts within the last 20 minutes, and they show just a mandir scene and end it with the title song and khatam, the end. So Dil has that for you to look forward to.
There's also like a chase sequence, right, at the end of the movie?
Yeah, that's what. And there's a chase sequence. There's like an accident. He has to go through so much stuff.
But there's a shot where they have a random bacha running over the street and a truck about to hit him. And there was like no reason to put this random bacha in danger for this movie. It makes no sense. Like, ये कौन बच्चा है? किसका बच्चा है? Clearly the बच्चा is dead and he's crying. You can see it. ये बच्चा, like, go back, watch. The kid is crying, man. Like it's terrible. Like, you know, no animals were harmed during the making of this movie, but the child was traumatized for sure, like 100%. It was a massive hit, but it's very hard to watch. It has not only because of the outdated views, but just because terrible shoddy filmmaking. It's but at that time it's basically all we had, so we just kind of like accepted it, you know. So it's not a good thing to rewatch or revisit. Madhuri is great though, and for some people the music would work. The movie is so bad it retroactively made the music bad for me. So that's how bad it is. Oh, good. Oh, dear Lord. Let's move on to the next one. Like, let's do our next episode because, I don't. Yeah, this is bad. Amrita, where can people find you online?
You can find me on Twitter at AmritaIQ.
Sujoy?
I'm on Twitter and Instagram at 9E3K.
I'm at Asim Bernie. You can follow us on Twitter at UPodcast. We're on Facebook. We're now also on YouTube because Sujoy uploaded some episodes there. So if people don't want to, download and they love YouTube, they can watch listen to our episodes there. There's no visuals or anything like that. You can leave us a review on Apple Podcast, they're called now, and drop us an email at upodcast@gmail.com. Thanks you for listening, guys. We'll be back in 2 weeks.
क्या बोलती